I want to share with you a story of a marriage that began very inauspiciously, and yet changed the world as we see it today. The gentleman, young up-and-comer, this was about 500 years ago, so there are different differences in how things were run. Up-and-comer, successful in leading troops in war, successful in politicking, up the political ladder of his country, ran into a bit of a problem because this country had a very strong parliamentary system. And they decided that they didn't want anybody of royal blood to be in the top national echelons of power. So he was outlawed from doing that. He could only go so high. Yeah, okay. He kept trying. It was politicking after all. You can change people's minds. But he also looked around for other opportunities. And there was one young lady of marriageable age. Now, she was 15 years old. Okay. Needed a husband because her parents said they needed a husband for her. She was also the second in line to the throne of England, to the crown. So, okay. The probability of her actually getting to be Queen of England was low because one, she's a woman, and two, the guy before her was next in line, would marry and have kids and etc. But yeah, what the hell? Give it a shot, see how it works. The bride had other ideas. She wanted a romantic marriage. And that was not to be, to the point. And she wanted it so strongly that when she was at the altar getting married, she was crying, actually. That's how devastated she was by this marriage. Over time, she got used to it. They moved to the Netherlands, where he was up and coming in the political circles. And she got involved with the local people there, the local politics, and actually liked it. And over time, her and William became more and more comfortable with each other and actually fell in love at some point. I should tell you this about Mary. She was smart, articulate, strong-willed, and diplomatic. Okay, so this young couple, very early in their marriage, actually established a partnership. They would both deal with the politics. He would be off at war all the time because that was his job, one of his main jobs. And then when he was away, rather than letting other people decide what's going on, she would take care of domestic affairs, local affairs. Lots of correspondence back and forth. Things went well. She was really good. He actually got up to the top level in the Netherlands, top level of leadership in the Netherlands. He then got in a little delegation from England. And I don't know exactly what the conversation was like, but it was something like, hey, William, we're not too happy with our current king. He's doing all kinds of crazy stuff we don't like. And on top of it, he's a Catholic. He's preaching tolerance for Catholics. We can't have that. We're Church of England. That's the national religion. So we would like you to bring your army to England, invade it. We'll look the other way. And when you successfully capture the king and take over the country, we will make you officially the King of England. You're of noble blood. There shouldn't be any problems. Well, negotiations started at that point. And there was one big problem. There was a substantial number of the nobles of England who weren't really keen on William, a foreigner, being King of England. But he married the second in line. And by this time, she was first in line to the throne of England. So I was like, well, how about the final agreement? We'll make you co-rulers. She'll be queen, you'll be king. Yeah, okay. William and Mary, as they were to become known, or Mary, William and Mary, agreed to that. William took his armies, invaded England. Not only did the nobles turn their heads away, look the other direction, but the actual army that the king sent to defend England, deserted and actually joined William's army. So the king fled to France. William became king, Mary became queen. And they had the same agreement as partners. She would deal with domestic affairs primarily, and he would deal with war. And there was the middle ground where they both dealt with domestic affairs because they're both pretty good. She was really good. And they brought in some changes which would affect the world. One is they agreed to a Bill of Rights that Parliament had proposed, whereas the king could no longer arbitrarily take property from people. Okay? Property rights, big deal. Other restrictions on the rule of the regents of the monarchs were also installed within that Bill of Rights. The biggest one is different ways that the king, that the crown had to confer with or defer to Parliament. Okay, that's one big change, kind of radical for the time. The other one was economics, how a country should be run economically. William and Mary instituted the Bank of England. They started selling bonds, which was kind of strange at the time, which to anybody. You wanted to buy you wanted to lend money to the English government, buy a bond. They revised the tax code to make it more legible, more enforceable, basically, which also increased the revenues to the state. And they brought in several other ideas, like innovation's a good thing. Doing things more efficiently, that's a good thing. Yeah, it might upset some people, but it gets things done better, faster, cheaper. And the people that do that should profit from it. Okay, now you look at all of these things, all of them radical ideas for the time. Radical. And what they formed was the basis of a modern economy. They had the basis, the very foundations that allowed Britain to become the imperial power in the world, literally a world-spanning empire all around, the largest one of all times. Literally, the sun never set on the English Empire. And they also transformed the economics of Europe and eventually of any, what we would call Western economy or any modern economy. Adopted the rules at the very foundation of their economy were the rules set down by William and Mary. So that today, you look around at everything that we've got, everything that we've accomplished in the world, it's because of a line of reasoning going right back to William and Mary. And that couple, where the bride was literally crying at the altar because she didn't want to marry this guy. But she helped change the world in doing so. So, there we go.